What's up guys, Tech and Tyler, and today we're going to be taking a look and slash repairing this clock. Now, I've already repaired this clock once, but when I put it back together, I accidentally put a piece in it incorrectly because I didn't realize the meaning. I didn't realize it needed to be into a certain orientation, and I also need to try to see if I can fix another problem that's with it too, where my last repair, which I'll explain what I had to do, but due to that repair, it makes it a loud ticking sound. But the item that we are going to be looking at slash repairing is this, and that is this Lumitime clock. Now, these clocks are pretty unique because of the fact that the whole entire display is made out of neon indicator bulbs. So there's an entire, and you'll see it once I open it up, but there's an entire plastic channel in here that has a whole bunch of just random, neon indicator bulbs just randomly placed in these little spots. And then there's a darkening filter that goes over it, and then you also have the darkening lens that goes over it to give it the idea of the the idea of the numbers, how they look. But there's a bunch of channels with single indicator bulbs in each channel, so it's a fully mechanical clock, which is really cool. So it's all based on just contacts and gears, so every time the number changes, it's taking away the contact from one of the neon indicators and lighting up a different one. It's super unique and really cool how this works. I believe these came out in the 70s possibly. I know they're kind of rare, but at the same time not. You can find them online, but they are quite expensive. I was really lucky enough to get this clock when I did find it, but it also wasn't working when I got it either. And overall, it's in really good condition too. The plastic's in pretty good shape on the front. It's not too, badly scratched up or anything like that. The chrome on the side here is faded and up there, unfortunately, but if we go around to the back of it, you can see where the plastic has melted from the cord or had a chemical reaction, which tells me that this was probably in an attic for a long time, which would make sense of why it had the issue that it had. So when I got it, the reason why it didn't work is because the motor in it was seized, and I found out that if I took the motor out, it would kind of move, but it would lock up again. So what I ended up doing was taking the smallest drill bit that I could find to drill out the center hole of the actual insert for the motor, because it's based on since it's an older clock, it's based on it's got an outer casing that's the actual coil part with the insert in it being the magnet to help spin it, but on the little metal peg inside of it, the plastic had swollen, and I'm assuming it was due to the heat of probably being in the attic, but also just plastic, when it gets older, it shrinks, so it just had gotten too tight around the spindle, around the little peg. So I drilled it out, but when I drilled it out, it made it just slightly too big, like ever so slightly too big, to where it had a little wiggle. So the whole time that I've had this clock, since I repaired it, you can hear it making like a rumbling noise. Like, it's not the worst ever, but it's also not the best. And I want to see if I can try to make it a little quieter. And I have an idea for trying to make it a little quieter, but I don't know if it's a good idea just because it might ruin it. So I'm going to have to look into that and come up with some sort of idea on how to do it. But if I go ahead and take it apart, I'll pop it open and show you the insides of how it works. Now, I've already taken off all the little caps, the little knobs for the front, which, as you can see on the front, you have hour, minute, alarm off and on, and time set. And those are the only knobs you have, plus you have the snooze for the buzzer inside of it, which that's also another thing I need to look at too. The buzzer in this clock is pretty quiet. I know some of these buzzers and clocks can be pretty loud and some can be pretty quiet, but I had one screw in this holding it, so that way it keeps it together, because if you take out all the screws, the whole thing comes out. If you only take out there's 6 screws on the back. If you take out the 4 No, if you take out the two, there's two screws here and here, that's what actually sandwiches it together. But if you take out the 4 and leave the 2, it's just the clock mechanism. So, and I want to be able to move this so it doesn't get all scratched up. I've never unpeeled it, the sticker off of it from the front of it before, so this is something I didn't want to have to do because it just ripped a little bit, unfortunately, right there, which isn't too big of a deal. I was trying to prevent that from happening, but it's alright. It's not a huge deal, I guess, but I'm going to try to see if I can relay that back down to get it to level up. But here you go. If you take a look at it, I'm going to remove the snooze button piece here and get this spring out of here that fell. But as you can see, it's a whole bunch of gears and different types of pieces for mechanism here. And if you look there, you can see how this one is spinning. That's because the motor is right under here, and there's some oil right there from when I oiled it the last time, and it seems like the oil kind of got around in a bunch of the spots. But this lens actually right here, and since you can also see now too, you can see more of the cutouts for the numbers here because that cover is darker. It has a tint to it. It helps cover this up a bit. But when you also remove this, because this here pops off, just comes right off here, and that can definitely use a little bit of cleaning. It's a little dirty since the last time I took it apart, but as you can see, it's just a bunch of channels in here that have singular neon indicator bulbs in it. So each one of these indicator bulbs, when the gears turn, is how it changes the time. So if I turn this one over, you can see how it all flickers and the time changes, which I'm probably gonna have to go through and clean the contacts up a little bit more again. It's not too it doesn't look too bad for how it is. They just kind of flicker in and out a little bit, but that's because it's older and the contacts get, like when I first got it, I sprayed some contact cleaner in it and it helped it, but I've noticed it kind of flickers a little still, so I'm gonna have to go through some contact cleaner again. But there's so much gunk inside of here, a bunch of oil too, that I need to try to clean. It wasn't this dirty last time I opened it up, from what I remember, unless the oil just made everything really filthy possibly. But as you can see here, when I take off this little disc here, it's a little wheel that has a design on it, so once it's spinning it makes a cool color. Well, you see that circle right there in the top, like right there that I'm pointing at? That's actually the seconds counter, and I didn't realize that when I first opened this up to repair it. So when I dropped it in there, I just kind of willy-nilly dropped it in there randomly, so that little seconds counter didn't match up to the number change. So that's another reason why I'm opening it, to try to fix it. But everything else in this clock is in pretty good condition. There's nothing broken in it per se, besides, you know, the little piece that I said that I had to fix and all. It's still works with the little repair that I did, and I mean I've had it and I haven't had any issues ever since I fixed it. It's just that noise, and I wonder if you can hear it possibly by any chance. If I put it up to the camera, you might be able to hear like that wah 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 wah. Kind of sounds like maybe a diesel truck a little bit. But yeah, that after I drilled out that piece in the center of it, it started making that sound, and that's because I over drilled it a little too much. But I thought it was the smallest bit that I had to do it at the time, but apparently it was a little too much, unfortunately. So now I'm gonna have to see if I can try to repair the fix I did just a little bit, just to make it to where it doesn't make that noise, or I can maybe bend something to help it. But let me grab a screwdriver so I can take these smaller screws out right there out, and then I'll show you how the motor mechanism works and the repair that I talked about. And then also let me grab some paper towels so I could try to wipe off some of this stuff, and I'll bring you right back. Okay, so I got a screwdriver. I unscrewed the screws. I also got some paper towels and some Windex to kind of help clean this up a little bit when it gets to the time. But what I'm going to show you right now, and I'm going to zoom it in a little bit here, is that little piece of plastic right there. This is the cap covering up the motor. So if I remove this, you have the motor mechanism that spins there, and then most of the gears are right in here that spin from the motor. And then what it does is it transfers all that motion from the other gears to this gear here. And so this gear flips a bunch of stuff. As you can tell, it's got a specialty little teeth that going around it on the top and the bottom. And then it spins everything else over here that controls, like the alarm, the time, and all that. So a lot of that oil that is all throughout here is apparently from the motor from the last time I did it. So I guess I put a little too much oil in it. But as you can see, it's spinning and it works fine. And it's kind of has a little bit of a wobble, but it's ticking on something. And so I'm wondering if I can either possibly try to fix the hole that I made if it's a little too big, or you see the little metal pieces like right here and right there and stuff like that on the edges. I'm wondering if I can find out which one of those, if this is hitting one of those, and then just kind of bend it a little bit. And as long as it still keeps the magnetization around this, then it will be fine. Because if I unplug this, I pull this out, this is all it is. It's just a simple little small magnet with some plastic in the middle, and that's what controls everything. That's what makes the whole entire motor work, which is actually kind of unique, honestly, because it's a very small motor, but it's got quite a bit of power actually in order to spin the entire thing. So but yeah, the plastic that's in the center here, this is what I had the problem with when I first got it. I had to drill out that center hole a little bit because it was shrunken too much and it wasn't allowing it to spin on this metal rod here on the spindle. And if I put it on there and I wiggle it, it's got a little bit of play in it, just ever so slightly. It's not a whole lot, but it's a little too much still. So I'm wondering if, like I said, if I can bend some of those little metal pieces back just slightly to kind of help it not do like that knocking sound. And if I can do that and it works, then that would be awesome, because it would be nice to have this just a little quieter. I don't mind that it, you know, it has a rumble in it, but it's more annoying because of the fact that the rumbling sound, it goes in and out. So it will turn out like quiet, and then out of nowhere it kind of just picks up that sound again, and then it just kind of gets loud and goes back from being loud, quiet. So I want to be able to try to clean it up a little bit, and make it to where it's not going to be so loud. I'm just doing a little quick wiping of the area a little bit. A lot of this is just kind of old grease, I guess, that came around in it from whoever had it, and it was stored. And being in an attic, all that old grease kind of just got all over the place, possibly. It still needs to be oiled a little bit just to help, like, you know, the seconds wheel kind of spin and everything spin. There's a lot of wear on the front of this too, or it's just a lot of oil kind of going everywhere on it because there's a ring on the front of it, and I'm able to wipe it off a little bit. It's kind of coming off a little bit, so let me put some Windex on it, kind of help try to break up that gunk a little bit and try to get it a little cleaner, because I want to clean it, and then I'm going to try to see if I can add just the slightest amount of oil. Not crazy oil like how it was in it, but that little ring came off pretty decently. I might have to actually take this wheel and like scrub it a little bit better, try to clean up the teeth a little bit more because it's all dirty, but I can worry about cleaning this up a little bit later. But yeah, that's it. Turned out way better. So it's a mix of the old grease, because like look at all of that onto there. That's a ton of oil on the back of this. I probably put way too much oil, and then there's just a bunch of also old grease in here. So I'm gonna get this all cleaned up at the same time because it's coming off pretty easily. But I'll clean it up a little bit more. Just trying to get the access off of it, just so that way it doesn't get everywhere and it's already over my hands. But anyway, But yeah, so the little metal wheel here sits in there like that. And if I look, all of the gaps around it look fairly clean. Like, it doesn't really look like it's hitting anything, but it has that sound like it is. So, and if I put it at an angle, it stops that noise. So I don't really think it's... See, it's quiet now. It's not making any noise at all. So I wonder why it was making that noise then, because the entire time that I've taken it apart and put it back together, it was always just making that knock, 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 knock sound. So if I put this piece back on it for the gears, I wonder if it will start doing that noise again. Get this aligned if I can. It's kind of being a little bit of a slight pain. Unless the gear has moved, which it shouldn't have, because it's all lined up. So let me... trying to line up the hole there for it. Interesting. It might have smoothed. No. Oh, it did move just the slightest, but there we go. You see, when I put this back on it, there's that knocking sound again. It gets pretty loud. So I don't know if it's due to the fact of this is hitting the little metal prongs in there like I was saying, or if me drilling out this hole as much as I did is causing it just to kind of knock around on the peg there for it. So I have to do a little bit more research into, well, not research, but a little bit more digging into this to try to figure out why it's quiet. But I'm going to take a little time and kind of work on this a little bit more, try to get it a little better than it was, clean it up a bit more, try to get it just working to where it's quieter, kind of realign everything, like I said, from the motor down to the seconds meter, just get it all nice and tidy again to where it's better than how I left it, and make it to where it's perfectly fine and I can put it back together and then, you know, be good and don't have to worry about taking it apart again for a while. Because like I said, I'm gonna go through, clean it, oil what I can without making a huge mess, get it all working. Then I'll take some contact cleaner, clean all the contacts in it. I've already done this once, but sometimes you got to go back and do it a second time, and I want to get this clock to where it's a little bit more perfect than I kind of left it. So I'm going to do some work on it, do some repair work, other repairs on it, like taking it apart and fixing the buzzer and all that stuff too, because the buzzer in this would be located on the back of it, somewhere inside of it. So I got to figure out where that is, try to see if I can make it a little louder because it is kind of quiet. Just give it a once over. So with that though, stay tuned for part 2 of this, because I'll make another video about this clock and show what I had to do to it, show what I did to kind of fix the issue with the knocking and get it all put back together, and then we could take a overview of it one last time. And show the final finished product. So thank you for watching. Until next time, stay tuned for the next video of it, and I'll see you in the next one.